It's a very interesting time of the year. It kind of feels like it's a universal experience where the world's slowing down a little bit for most industries. Like people right now are in holiday mode. And we were talking about this, like, what do you do? Do you decide maybe it is time that I need to set back, reset my life, relax a little bit? Or you're looking at yourself and you're like, man, I'm not liking the way that I did things this year. I'm gearing up to begin the next phase of my life. I think it's kind of up to your own.
Yeah. Yeah, the end of the year, man. Boy, gyms are going to get busy starting January 1st. It's like, I guess, in some people's mind, the calendar turning means it's time. It's a great opportunity for you to make a turn also. I don't think that's the best way to do it because, it's not like July is any different to December. You're facing the same things that you do in December that you did in July. I think it's just the way that you look at things, but it is a great launching point for a lot of people in the new year, a new beginning. But in our case, our business is really blooming right now. Like our business is just going crazy. So we're leaning in more, but we also are taking this time to do a lot of planning for next year also, so it's like, hey man, business is good, but you have to also go through the planning stages of how am I going to make it better next year? So no matter what you're doing this year, you want to always beat it next year. So we take this time in the midst of the work to really start to get granular with our business and look at every component of it and all the things that we can fix. And I think that's the way you have to do it, man, is you really have to look. This is a time where you can get very specific about things and write down these specific goals. This is the time of year when everybody wants to make the change. So it's that time to get going.
But like this week, I'm saying the world just feels like
it's like
people
stopped.
are at work. Yeah, people are at work, but it's like it's really weird because
like the holiday hangover.
Yeah,
yes.
It like lingers in the air.
It's because people are going to parties, and you got days that are scheduled off, and
I'm wondering if it's kind of like those people that say they're about to get on a diet. It's like, all right, tomorrow I'm going to start the diet. So today I'm going to eat every fucking cookie in the cupboard. So that's so maybe they're binging, and because they're doing these kind of bad habits, they get really lazy. It's like I guess the holiday hangover kind of part. I don't know.
What's your New Year's resolutions? Do you have any, Shannon?
I haven't decided yet. A lot of the things that I thought I was going to do, and this was a decision I made for myself, a lot of things I thought I was going to do for New Year's, I said, just why not start it today? Why am I going to wait? I remember telling you all that. Like, why am I going to wait until January 1st when I could just start it today?
Well, you're an expert now, because that's not the way beginners do it. But
that's just me. I just was thinking to myself, like, why would I wait? Like, I'm just going to keep putting it off, and it's going to be like this thing in the back of my mind. And I'm like, why didn't I just start yesterday? But that's me.
What is that lady, the one that said that quote, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. There's
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Roosevelt. Yeah, that says it all. Why today is a gift. Start today.
Yeah, I know. It's really interesting. And just there's so many different types of people in the world. Like we were talking about this too. The holidays can be amazing, but it can also be a really sad time for people.
Yeah, if you're not where you want to be and you're not happy with where your life is.
So,
man, I can just tell you this based on experience. Whenever I've been in one of those ruts, the quickest way to solve it is just to take massive action, right? To just start being active in the direction you want to go in and watch what happens. Everything else kind of falls into play. The first step is you doing what you're supposed to do, and then God, the universe, the spirit, whatever people call it, that's you get rewarded for activity. You get rewarded for action. You get rewarded for having a plan. So those are the things that you control. Nobody else controls that. If you wake up today and say, this is who I'm going to be, and you stick to that, that's what you'll become. And people don't realize that it's that easy, that you just have to make that decision in your head, take action based on that decision, and your life begins to change right in front of you. It sounds so simple, but I guess it's really hard to do because your mind is convincing you to do something different, So it's really just making the decision and you starting to do something. And action, always what's going to follow action is results, and results are going to lead to more action. And so it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy where you have action, you get results. It gives you encouragement to give more effort, and you get more results. And then now you've built a habit of a successful life, because that's really all it is the people who are out there pushing the hardest are the ones that are gonna at the end of the day are gonna be the ones that wind up on top and the happiest people.
Well, I always look at it as it's so easy to create bad habits, but why is it so hard to stick to good ones? It's easy to fall into something that you shouldn't be doing because you're not stopping yourself from doing it. It's just easy to let that keep happening. But if you're trying to create a new good habit, you have to remind yourself to do it every day.
Every day. And if you miss one day, that's okay, but just don't miss 2 days.
Yep, the 2-day rule.
And going back to like the New Year's resolution, it's almost like if you're preparing for a good 2023, just like if you're preparing for a good football game or preparing for an event, you don't start the day of the event. So get off your ass and start right now and be prepared. If you haven't done it yet, start your resolution today so that when 2023 hits, you're already kind of moving towards it, because you got to get ready early.
And listen, if you want to put yourself on the wall, put yourself against the wall where you have nowhere to go, once you write those goals down for this year, you go and post that on social media and let everybody know. Now you just made a commitment to everybody, and you have, anybody that's friends or family or anybody you're connected with, you're placing that out there. And when you do that, there's no turning back, because you just published that you're going to do it. So when you get those goals, go make a commitment or go put that out there where people know this is what I'm going to do. And then that's going to give you some of the extra motivation, because you committed to it. You told everybody you were going to do it. So now you have no choice but to do it, right? That sits there in the back of your head.
I think actually now I keep thinking about, Sean asked me what, if I have an idea of what I'm going to do for my New Year's resolution. And I think it's a sign from God. Keep seeing it pop up. Like I just keep seeing the words 5 a.m. And I was reading something on Twitter a couple months ago about like joining the 5 a.m. club. And it's kind of like an unspoken thing, but really successful people are the early birds. And like, I'm sure there are a few exceptions, but the 5 a.m. club is basically like you're out there bettering yourself before the rest of the world wakes up.
Yes.
And to me, there's something so satisfying about that. Like waking up knowing majority of the world is still asleep and you're up doing something for you that day. I don't know. That might be something that I'm going to try to do.
Oh, that's a
Join
great
the 5
idea.
a.m. club.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I like to go to the gym at 5 a.m., not necessarily because of I'm doing something while everybody else is asleep, but I know I can do it consistently because I know nobody else is going to ask me to do anything else at 5 a.m. So really, it's just me missing sleep, but I know I can get it done. So it's a personal, again, a choice that you make that I'm not going to have any other commitment. I'm not going to have to go do something, pick up kids or get lazy. At 5 a.m., you just have to get your ass out of bed and go to get it rolling.
So, Mike, you've been on this track for the last few months. You've kind of been buckling down in some things. How is that going?
Terrible. So, the last thing we just had.
I didn't expect that.
Well, no, but so it's those things that you have, like where you're talking about, and this 2-day rule that we just talked about earlier, I think I really need to trigger that in my head because I've been looking at my Apple Watch, and on my Apple Watch, it has all these goals that you're hitting. And it was like, hell yeah, I've got like 50 days in a row. I'm the man. And then I missed a day and I was like, shit, now it starts over. So it's like so depressing when you get to that point and you're like, oh, well, I missed a day yesterday. So I can start my whole new series again tomorrow or the next day or the next day. And it fell into you get into a lazy habit as opposed to that aggressive get up and go habit. So it's one of those things. I got to start again. Like tomorrow I'm going to be at the gym, but I haven't been like 2 weeks. So
you need to remember that 2-day rule, dude.
Well, I was telling y'all we need to do something. We had set an office goal for Christmas, and I guess y'all, I miss cheer so much. We had the team had to abide by it. It was a 5-mile rule, and you could split it up. Like I split mine up. I think I did 2 miles Christmas Eve, 3 miles Christmas morning. You don't have to run them, but I think it would be really cool if we set an office goal. So by the end of Christmas Day, everybody checked off that they did something.
Or maybe we put together something for the first quarter, like as a team, These are all things that, listen, some people, I like to ride solo. I don't need all this stuff. But listen, a lot of times doing things as a group and having that accountability, after a certain point, you don't need the accountability anymore. You've figured it out on your own. But to get started, man, it's good. That's why they have all these lose that competitions at the gyms and the weight loss stuff. And they have all these things because just to get you in the groove and get you going until you can build up your own self and inner strength in order to conquer some of these things, procrastination and laziness and putting things off and all of the things that we all do every single day, you start to learn those. That's what the resistance, the war of art, they talk about that. It gives a name to those things that are taken away from our life. And once you have a name for it, at least personally, I now had something to call that thing. It's like when it would pop up and I'd start procrastinating. No, I knew what that was now, and I knew that was a resistance. So what it told me was, it's trying to steal your peace and your joy out of your life. You need to go lean into that. As soon as you hear that procrastination coming in, you do the opposite thing, and you start to train yourself. But it helps a lot of times to get started in a group, in some kind of program where you have the accountability until you can build up the inner strength yourself.
Yeah, one of the things that our gym did, which I thought was pretty funny or kind of unique in this perspective, especially when it comes to holiday season, because this is when everybody wants to eat more, gain a lot of weight. But basically, you would put in money like a pool. So everybody would put in $10 that's participating, and you weigh the day you put in. So there's a day everybody weighs before the holidays. You don't tell what your weight is, so you still keep that personal. The one person that's checking it, and that money goes into a pool. If you gain weight, you're out of the competition. So at the end of the holidays, you weigh again. If you weigh the same or less, you're in the pool, and then they pull one name. Whoever the winner is gets all the money. But you don't even have a shot at the money if you gain weight. So you're like thinking, maybe I don't want that apple pie. Maybe I don't want that little extra serving of eggnog. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of a neat little incentive to keep in the back of your head. But again,
to get started, dude, all of those tricks, use all the tricks. And at some point, though, I think you start to understand. You start to understand it. You don't need all those props anymore. You can do it yourself.
And I think too, it's important to point out for those of you listening, like we like to talk about a lot of motivational stuff just because it's a big part of our lives, and we're not just sitting here to preach it to you. Like, these are things that we do every day that like we talk about before things are filming. So like, it's not like we're just sitting here telling you to do something that we don't do ourselves. Dude,
this is all stuff
like this is stuff that we do talk about day to day. And it's really funny because the more you talk about it with other people, the more accountable you'll hold yourself to be, because you don't want somebody to ask you about it and be like, in the back of your mind, be like, oh.
Yeah, like Sean just called me out. Now I have to go to the gym tomorrow.
I didn't know it, dude. I thought y'all won this program and y'all were rocking and rolling, dude.
But look, and I'll end it with this. Something that our high school coach used to always say to us: you'll never feel as bad as you did today. The first day you start something, you will feel like dog poop. You will never feel as bad as you did today. So let that motivate you for tomorrow. Yeah, you'll feel a little bit better. It's like 1% better every day, pretty much. But
if you're feeling that pain and that discomfort, it means you're on the right track. Yep. That's what it's all about, man. Is pushing yourself and getting something out of it. And so you begin to, embrace the suck, they call it, right? You know, it sucks to do this sometimes. It sucks when you got to go train. It's 10 o'clock at night and you haven't done it. But you know what? You just embrace it, because the feeling when you're done is it's so motivating, and it makes you. It's muscle memory. So as you conquer things every day, you're building muscle memory, and you start to become good at conquering things. So now all the problems in your life, all the things that pop up every day, all the stress, this is equipping you to handle it in a way that doesn't disturb and disrupt your life. That's the byproduct of this. So it's not only being healthy, but the way that it allows you to deal with all of the other drama and nonsense of life, it puts you in a different mindset.
And we want to make sure, too, that we tell the audience a few resources that they can use.
Yeah. So listen, I'm a big reader. And so there's some books that I've read that have really kind of, they're all built around this kind of same theme of personal accountability, your other self, the spiritual nature of things. One of them is called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Another one is called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And another one I just got finished reading is called Never Finished by David Goggins, where he talks about, I'm 57, so typically people at this age, they're starting to think about, what do I do after this part of my life is done? In David Goggins' latest book, he talks about that you're never finished, right? That mindset that wherever you are, in order for you to go and discover that grinding self that got you to where you are, you constantly have to put yourself back in that position of being vulnerable and being willing to fail, no matter how successful you get, because it's only in those moments that grit and that personality that you showed to get to where you are right now in life, you have to go back to those tough places in order for you to stay sharp. And basically what he did, he was a big, like these ultra marathons. He runs these 240-mile races. And it had been several years since he had done it. And a guy called him and said, hey, I want you, the race coordinator said, I want to give you an invite to this big race, this 240-mile race. And he hadn't done any of this stuff in like 5 or 6 years. And so he goes through the book and basically says, I had lost the freaking animal that David Goggins was. I had lost that edge, and I realized that I thought that I had made it to a point in my life because I'm wealthy now, I have a lot of money. But you know what, man? I had to go get back and find that inner person, because that's where all the growth comes from. So no matter how successful you are, I'm always trying. I can tell you this, from a personal standpoint, no matter, the finish line is never the finish line. It never stops. We're always looking at what's next, dude. So I think never being satisfied, always having that next goal. And as he says, you're never finished, man. You're finished when they put you in that casket. And up until then, you should be running like your life depends on it.
Wow. That's good. Well, guys, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and have a great New Year's.
Yes.